Welcome all to the Night of Power, part of the Comfort and Courage season held at Grand Junction and funded by Peabody Young Leaders Programme. An event where 7 amazing and talented young performers have been picked to perform music, poetry and spoken word in response to the theme of comfort, courage and power. Thank you to everyone tuned into this event. We hope to stimulate every good feeling in these unpredictable times, promote a feeling of community, and most of all, of hope, comfort, courage, and power through the performing arts. I'm Chanai, and I'll be your host tonight. I'll also be opening up the show with a poem for you. A little bit about myself. I trained with the National Youth Theatre in 2019. I'm represented by an agent and I do a lot of commercial work and theatre. I've written a piece of spoken word called Isolation, based on my mental health and physical world syncing together, feeling isolated and troubled during this pandemic. Isolation. Can I get some help, please, physically and mentally, in chronic need of a community, feeling isolated? Do you have any news for me? Pretty please, imperative please, outside closed with indoor keys, stuck, like the feeling of constipation. But my thoughts are still racing, traffic jammed at the station and the car park, well, I can't go here. Frustration observed, take the wheel, meditation. Left in the dark. A tree with its bark, the economy in hopes for the last laugh. What's paper when the trees are not even at ease? But I will write on this paper creatively, prevent this on-side, ongoing forest fire, saddened at ease, replaced by accompanied leaves signifying friends and family, from a tree to trees. You can chip away and lose your mind forest-like, or make use of your surrounding resources, stand tall and reflective of light. Time doesn't stand tall and still. You do. You got this. One thing I would just like to say is it's very important during this pandemic to understand mental health. And for instance, as we've seen in men, 3/4 of suicides are in men. And this pandemic, it just teaches us to make sure that we speak up and make sure we're using our creative platforms to be able to express our feelings. And yeah. So next up, we have Bzerk. He started at the age of 14 as a grime MC. His ability to perform on grime has been showcased on radio sets, on stations such as Radio 1 Extra, Rinse FM, and Kiss FM. His chosen songs are Sermo, a song about being loyal is to be courageous, trust is powerful. And his second song is Butterfly Effect, a piece dedicated to his mum.
Yes. El-Wakili, live, about to perform my first track, Sermo. God bless everyone that's watching. Let's get it. Vibe with me. Trust. You ain't gotta say nothing but a word, my brother. Trust me. Check it. You ain't gotta say nothing but a word. I write scriptures. I told you, my bond's in my words. Stick to your verse, never live to deter. From the words that you spread on this earth, there's power in the wording. When I word the ancient myths that have a purpose, cause it's written in these verses. That's why I became a wordsmith. Through the scriptures, I will never die. Always have a purpose. Revolution won't be televised. You can peek through curtains, cause the outcome be the outcome. My ting is not an album, but my ting is like an album. Got my Osde bar, look at the they couldn't X me like Malcolm. Get your hands up my pocket, I'm about to reach thousands. See, you ain't gotta say nothing but a word. I write scriptures, I told you, my bond's in my words. Stick to your verse, never live to deter. From the words that you spread on this earth, cause there's power in the wording. Real talk. Jesus. This next tune is dedicated to all the women out there, especially to my mum. I love you loads. Let's get it. So beautiful. So beautiful. Check me. God bless all the hers. Trust. God bless all the hers and their ovaries. If not for her, would you even have a soul to breathe, soul to speak, a soul to see what you're destined for, or what energies you're supposed to meet? You crown your queen with Chanel while you're overseas. You want a peace of mind? Watch her oversee. Old scars, broke heart, watch her mend a new heart to be close to me. For who I am and what I will be, I owe to thee. This ain't poetry, it's floetry. I ain't a poet, I'm a flow it. It's a different type of energy. Forever younger love, I see no meaning for a cemetery. Because you hold me up, I wish blessings for my enemies. Real shit, you feel this exuberating energy flowing through your body. Ain't nobody have my body, spirit, mind and soul in one tune. For my butterfly, I dedicate this flowing to you. Like, trust me, El-Wakili. Love and peace to all, man. Come on.
So much, and thank you for bigging up us women. I hope you all hear this, and thank you. I just have a few questions for you. One of them is, how do you get into emceeing? And if you had any tips to young people watching, what would you say to them to be able to do this?
I got into emceeing just through the internet, through watching YouTube and seeing a particular artist and being like, yo, I want to do this. So it all starts with you wanting to do it and giving it a go. You will find a way. I could tell you, but you get me, every journey is different. All I know is if you're on doing it, just do it, and a way will be made for you.
Amen. And one more thing, what brings you courage, or when has there been a time where you felt courageous?
I think because I'm the eldest in my family, I think it's just a natural thing to be courageous, just because of the people that depend on me and the people that look up to me. So I think just being looked up to and being seen as like an elder brother just gives me that courage to just carry on going and do my thing.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And do you want to drop your socials so we can all follow you?
Most definitely. Listen, you can follow me on all socials, Insta, Twitter, and YouTube. It's all the same, Bzerk UK. And yeah, new music coming out real soon. God bless everyone as well, man. Come on.
Thank you so much. Amazing. Next up, we have Rhianna Morris. Rhianna is a working actress and screenwriter who is trained at Birmingham Rep. She is currently writing a feature film with a Birmingham-based actor, and writing is currently setting up her own film production company. She has written a poem about identity, growth, and power named Waves.
I want to start by saying that this is a space for us to express ourselves and feel in our own way. We weren't made to be compressed and broken down into the same production line. Every single thing that we do carries an individual footprint, a well thought out authenticity. So why is it that we find it so easy to dismiss ourselves and our capacity? Holding up a mirror to someone else's life leaves us with a distorted, unimaginative lie that we are further behind. And no matter how many times we try and hold up that light in our own eyes, the competition and the unhealthy ambition will throw us off course every time. There seems to be this audience throughout every second of our existence, whether it is by the very people that surround us or our own cluttered thoughts finding their way to the surface. Every decision is triggered by the same insecurity, this failed mentality that what we have isn't good enough in the world's sight. And it is the worst kind of trigger that can drag us further into these moments of losing control of our value, the hidden gold. Yet we find it so easy to sink deeper, away from the lights, to these places where it is our natural tendency to hide. It's no mistake that the inner workings of our DNA are not the same. The way we talk, the way we walk, the way we think, they all are carried by a different wave of originality to a culture that is fighting so hard to be a copy. And it's There are these moments, though, where we can draw our own lines, where we construct the path in which we want to see ourselves. We can step into this self-belief and awaken this boldness, this courage to stand how we want in the face of adversity. Yet it's the speed. in which our thoughts catch up to us that undermine this confidence that has been building over time. And that is where we often find ourselves. We sit feeding our heads with projections of perfection in ways that harm us and taint our vision. We normalize the behaviors of comparison and of envy, and we paint the perfect picture of the opposite nature. If only we could find this off switch, the factory reset button that can wipe clean all the overwhelming distractions that build up until there is nothing left but our own malfunctions. The last 365 days have created a way for our small screens to become our entire identity. We're trapped inside of these four walls with these magnified thoughts. So now more than ever, it is our responsibility to look after ourselves, to respect ourselves and our unique qualities, to fill the silence with love and power and counteract these voices that fight to keep you in shallow water. If we don't take ownership over our lives and our value, then we will let others define and shrink what we hold dear to. See, we live in a time where standing for who you are is less than desirable. But isn't it better to be true to yourself rather than this version that is created to keep you conformed and to keep you grounded, unable to allow the room for you to be your own reflection in the way that was intended? So from someone that has lived this one too many times, I write this in hopes that it might relate to your own life. You've heard that saying, that to be yourself is the most powerful thing that can be done. Wow, there is so much power and truth in those simple words that could turn even the ugliest of thoughts into something that could be overcome. See, what you have holds power. And whether it is something that you hide or something that is carried, you don't tolerate the voices that persuade you to drop that gift or that talent. Whether it is something that is to be heard or something that is to be seen, it was not designed to sit on a shelf as this untouched dream. You have to pick up what is inside of you. Making that decision for yourself that you are going to walk and make waves in your fields, in your homes, in your circles in society. You are that missing piece. And you need to take a moment to believe that you have this part to play. If we don't take ownership of our lives and our value, we will let others define and shrink what we hold dear to. And whether it has been past disappointments in the past that have made you doubt your ability, or people in your life that you loved who just didn't show up for your victories, none of that holds weight if you know who you are in this part of your story. See, so many of us spend our entire lives waiting for that one person to give us that green light. But if we just looked at ourselves and realized that who we are and what our opinion is the only one that matters to us this time. See, what you think is in your hand and how you think of yourself, it will determine how your reality will end up looking. So the next time you find yourself wishing to be someone else, you may not know it, but whilst you are out there questioning your whole identity, your whole reality, there is someone else there watching you, hoping that one day they could mirror your identity. So I'm telling you, don't cancel yourself out. Don't compare your own life to someone who is fighting with the same lies. You need to pick up yourself. Pick up what is in your hand. And you need to take that courage and that power and that growth And watch that as you put your eyes on that road, it will not have a place to hide.
Thank you, Rhianna. I don't know about anybody else, but I feel so inspired. And one thing I want to ask you is, your piece is absolutely beautiful, but what would you say to these people watching right now, especially young people? How can you embrace being authentic and having that self-love? How could you achieve that? And what are some of the things that you've done?
I think it's such a hard one, especially in this kind of age of social media and you wanting to compare yourself to everything on Instagram and Twitter. And I feel like for me personally, the way that I've kind of combated that is to almost take myself away from those things as well for a while and see myself, what I can bring, and kind of sit myself down and be like, okay, I have these capabilities, I have these abilities, and kind of ignore the other voices around you. And sometimes it's voices that are close to you, sometimes it's voices that are a bit further away, but all those voices, they can create this distraction in you, and it can make you feel like you don't have enough or you're not enough. And the thing is, you are enough. So next time you have those thoughts, I kind of wrote this and then for an intention to bring light to that and bring power to that and say, you know what? Look at yourself and look at what you can bring and kind of disregard everything else, everything that you might have heard in the past, and just bring your own power.
Thank you so much, Rhianna. I have a question. What brings you comfort, or when has there been a time where you have felt comfortable?
I would say, in a way, it's kind of when I'm getting to do performing and when I'm writing spoken word and things. I think it brings me a lot of comfort when I'm getting to do it with like-minded people. So I think, in a way, we all come together and we all have one vision and one goal. And yeah, I think that brings comfort.
Amazing. And can you let us know your socials as well?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Rhianna_Georgia, but the Rhianna is spelled differently. So it's RHIANNA.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Next up, we have Aze. Aze started performing after the BBC World News broadcasted his poetry, and the London spoken word scene has inspired him to continue sharing his work. Aze will be performing 3 short spoken word pieces in response to the theme of comfort, courage, and power.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Aze, Knight of Power. I'm gonna hit you with the power like a meteor shower, spraying bars louder than Guy Fawkes' gunpowder. Do you hear the sirens surging through rush hour? Do you hear the drinks clinking at happy hour? We're all along the watchtower, but you only see the past year. The virus had devoured us, conquering our fear. I lost too many loved ones, dropping flowers on their graves. That ain't gonna sour this day to send you waves of hope around the corner, screaming louder and louder. We about to win the fight, and I couldn't be prouder. Do you hear the flights after browsing travel for hours? Do you hear the nights where you wear your best trousers? We don't quit, we don't cower, we uplift and empower. But if anyone doubts us, we make the announcement. You can't start a new chapter of your life somehow if you keep rereading the last one now. Do you hear everyone using new superpowers? That's the sound of us making new memories, ours. Hey, how's it going, guys? We all good? Warm-up sessions. I'm fired up now, I'm pumped up. That's my first time performing in over a year, so I really appreciate all of you taking the time to listen. Appreciate all this performance so far and everyone who's going to perform today. I feel absolutely blessed to be part of this incredible lineup. Thank you so much to Grand Junction, Knight of Power, for having me. If anyone likes any of my work or any of the work of these amazing performers, please follow them on socials. You can find me on socials at AZOfficial, that's at AIZZZ official. I've been thinking a lot about this theme of comfort and courage for the past or however long, and I've been looking back on the past year that we've all had, as difficult as it's been finding things that comfort me, looking at my mental health, poetry, I even started skipping, but the topic and the issue that's linked all of them has been mainly loving myself more. So this next poem is, well, you'll know what this next poem is called. Self-love is discovery. The process of closing all 24 tabs in your head, each one pointing out your flaws. So the window's closed, accepting what is, and being left with a screen that screams you are doing the best you can to achieve the life you want. One's wants and desires differ from one's needs. Self-love is putting your own needs above the needs of others, since you've been needlessly doing the opposite your whole life, even when you never needed to. And needless to say, you're exhausted now. This form of love doesn't spark overnight, somehow. It is the embodiment of intimacy, not with another body, but with yourself. Feeling good enough in your own scarred skin, peeling back the disdained layers you've so desperately tried to stitch on over the years. It's never been about being a self-centered, self-serving sellout. There's a difference between being selfish and inconsiderate. Self-love is unlearning, unflinching, and unbelievable relearning. Education that is not taught. An achieving student vying for the attention its parents could never give. Their bird's nest manifests a bird's cage. Waiting for the key to unlock that cage door, but once it's opened, all it would take years for them to learn how to fly free. Be present in yourself before you take the leap. Before you whisper the affirmations your mirror yearns for each morning, and take that selfie when you found lighting that bangs. But self-love is more than basking in your own light. Self-love is identifying where you're fucking up, being accountable for that plight, and actively continuing it so you're constantly on the build-up. Self-love is no filter. Often mistaken with self-care, be aware they are not the same, yet it is receiving care from others and allowing them to take care of you, and not driving away the person you like, thinking they deserve better. Because you are worthy of the love they have to give, and you are worthy of your own. Self-love is that counseling session you want to throw up in but choose to cry instead. It's okay to cry. It's not your fault. And it never was. Self-love is recovery after grief. It's healing after loss. Now climbing after falling. You're not falling anymore. Self-love is letting people you love experience your poetry, because you've discovered a trust in yourself that deepens the connection you have with everyone else. Cool. And now for my final piece. Again, thanks so much for everyone who's listening. I really do appreciate it. It's been a tough year for all of us. So I do hope this evening brings a little bit of light to all your lives. I've wanted to share this piece for a few years now, but I've never felt as inspired to do so as I have recently with the recent tragedy of Sarah Everard. May she rest in peace. And I've been speaking to a lot of my friends and family about this. It seems now as good a time as ever to finally share it with you all. So I really hope you guys do listen and share the message far and wide. This piece is called Courage. A wise man once said, courage is contagious. When a brave man takes a stand, the spines of others are often stiffened. So this goes out to all the boys and men who need to make some changes. On behalf of all the harassed girls and women who just want you to stop, think, and listen. Now, I never got taught the importance of consent in school. My parents never gave me the talk growing up. It was only at uni that I actively learned everything about the rules, from no meaning no to checking in if you're hooking up. But not all guys have the same privilege of education. You man don't know it ain't okay to put your arms around a random girl in a club, crowding around her with your boys thinking it's flirtation, assuming she won't know it's you taking advantage, pinching her bum. But she'll know, and her trust will be broken. Same way a girl can't cope if you've invaded her privacy, leaving her frozen. Might have been drunk taking that photo under the toilet, or might have thought it was funny for your group chat on public transport. Just know it's a criminal offense to have them exploited. You'll be arrested and sent to prison for years under the upskirting law. Think twice when you're in the same street as a female. Don't have to be them catcallers whistling to assert your dominance, or a stalker staring from afar, making them go pale. You walking behind them unconsciously is still uncomfortable prominence. Every girl we know has a story. The amount of times I've heard a girl remember a memory of keys clutched in her hand, ready to cut anyone predatory, day and night, sprinting away from jeopardy. The amount of times I've heard guys blaming the victim, stop saying what was she wearing and defending yourself with criticism and start asking how can he stop her from despairing. Whenever you see it or hear it, make an effort to call out that unacceptable behavior. Don't turn a blind eye thinking they'll be fine in a bit. Your active bystanding could be the one thing that saves her. And we know that sexual harassment and assault can happen to men as well. It's no secret that it happened to me before. But it's got to the point now where women go through more hell. And the reality is it could be your mum, sister, daughter, friend next door. Though that shouldn't trigger you to be better, as there's still someone. Parents worried about how you can protect your daughter. Why don't you start by educating your son? Switch up the conversation narrative and have more to offer. Talk to your boys, brothers, dads, uncles, together or one-on-one. I shouldn't even have to be here reminding you to start doing this. But after what we've seen, it's clear more needs to be done. Hold ourselves and our circles accountable rather than dismiss. Because this is about you just as much as it is about me. From the ordinary boy or man all the way up to our society elites. Time's up for us to be the change we want to see and support our girls and women to reclaim these streets. If you felt attacked or exposed by this poem, then maybe you're the problem. But even the most complex of problems can be solved. Time's up for us to increase the volume and all learn from our mistakes. Increase that volume, increase that volume. Because it's so important. And I can't stress it enough. You will find yourself in peer pressure situations where you don't agree with the majority sometimes. And instead of compromise, remember to take a stand, as you ain't doing it for yourself to flourish. Your actions will empower others to take a stand, be strong, and stiffen their spines. Then, both men and women will be contaminated by your courage. Thank you for having me, guys.
Do I need to say any more? Firstly, the second poem, like Ari Lennox said, self-love is the best love. And the second poem, on behalf of a woman in a misogynistic society, thank you, for speaking up on these issues and for teaching men consent, because a lot of men aren't informed, and it's true in the curriculum. Same as Black history and consent and these things, they wasn't taught to us in school. So thank you for being able to spread this message. And I think this is why the creative arts are so important. But yeah, I'm so inspired, seriously.
Thanks for having me, I really appreciate it.
A few questions for you.
Of course.
What does spoken word mean for you?
Spoken word means a lot of things for me. It's a creative outlet that I didn't realize I had. It came from a very dark place when I tried to take my own life. And I'm so grateful for it, because without spoken word, I wouldn't be alive today, sharing these messages with you. And yeah, bringing positivity, love. It encompasses everything that I never realized I had. So I do really appreciate it, and I'm grateful for it.
Thank you so much. And one thing I'll say is, thank you for speaking about mental health and things. As we know, the suicide rates, 3/4 of our men are the ones that take their lives. That's 75% out of 100. That means 75% of suicides are in men. So thank you for being able to speak up about this, and all the themes that you'll speak about are so relevant. So thank you, A's. What's your socials? Remind us of your socials so you can stay up.
My socials are at A's Official, so that's at AIZZ Official. Yeah, follow me, follow everyone that's performed, because honestly, everyone here is so incredible. You're incredible. Everyone is incredible. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, A's. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love, light, and prosperity, guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
Exactly. As you heard, love, light, and prosperity. Next up, we have Sana El-Wakili. Sana is an actor, poet, dancer, and choreographer. Her inspiration comes from visual arts and music. Her poetry is about exploring and researching the current affairs of the world have done to us as human beings and artists, physically and mentally. The challenges we face as human beings. Sana is a maker of raw, innovative, bold poetry and art with a heart of truth. Sana is exploring I Roll the Dice, which explores survival and courage to live with hardship. And her second poem is called That Martin Luther King Speech, about courage and power and exploring kindness.
Hello. So my first poem is called That Martin Luther King Speech, and here it goes. All it is kindness. The world is screaming for pure human kindness. The honest and kind amongst us are reaching for kindness. We need hope. I see it in your eyes. Those tears of overwhelming emotion is crying for that suffocation to be released. Us humans need to see that kindness is real, because it is real. It's like the foam of the sea after the wave has been passed. Can we breathe? Can we finally hear that it's not okay for others to hate us because we are targeted? Us humans want that sun to beam kindness, empathy, because I, hand on my heart, truly believe that it's a human call for understanding. Empathy and kindness, it's that last bubble of air that pops before you can see clearly. I tell the wound that wants to stop bleeding, hear me out. Hand on heart, kindness is for you and not just me. Screams of humanity in this vast land of insanity. We humans want to be accepted as we. We want to fight for what's right till the day we die. Let me put it out right. We all want to live peacefully and in harmony. For God's sake, enough of this narcissism, hate, and ignorance. How long can we take to see humanity being destroyed because we are divided and ruled because of our colors, faiths, races, and our ways of life and how we look? Enough. It's a non-stop bleeding scar. All I ask is for good, for kindness, for heart, for good character, for honesty, for empathy, for harmony. Don't believe what they're trying to say about we, you or me. Enough. I'm not dog shit. I'm not a monster. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not going to accept no form of hate. I'm not going to be demonized for simply being me. No, don't judge me. And yeah, lest I forget, don't give up on me. And I won't give up on you. I promise you. Will you promise me? I put my hand across my heart. I want to point out that I'm human first before anything else. So keep looking at me. What do you see? Tell me what you see. You listening to me? Are you really? Do you believe in kindness like me? I'm human first before anything else. And here's my next poem. I Roll the Dice. I'm writing this in between sleep and wake, and if I were to tell you I'm explaining the fall I tripped over like a pool table ball, tripping me up as if the pool table stick aimed straight for me, would you believe me? I sit in between restless, agitated irritability, waiting to fall asleep. My eyes are screaming in pain, my body confused on whether to sleep or wake. My veins pulling the blood supplies to my brain to keep it working, through its own pang of an eternal sunshine of a spotless mind. Jim Carrey wanting to relieve himself of the pain of unforgettable memories and what life means. I've been battling the stages for about 2.5 weeks now, juggling the frustration and agony of my somehow melting brain, fizzing with cola except it has a bitter flavor, no sweetness except it tricks you to find your version of sweetness. Tell me all that has happened was meant to give me an awakening, a dream cast of spells I had to undergo to understand the sunshine of a spotless mind. I'm talking gibberish, but it's coming from the heart. Repose, repose, repose. Next day, I roll the dice and take my chances. The day is alive and the night is a ghost stricken to death. The day is calling for my hand, for my wake, for my ears to hear and nose to smell. The cold morning frost, awakening air, flickering like crisps of ice from the sphere. Next poem, on to the next. Finding comfort in loneliness, isolation, what do you want to call it? It's like searching for peace in a dark ocean. Every time I try to surpass myself, my thoughts, my devils, my angels, my suffering, my whispers, it's like digging in an abyss in search for the light of day, for clarity, for hope and peace. The trick is to live with yourself every single day, every minute, every hour, and I've melted into the darkness. As for my life, it's a stage sunken in the dark. I've morphed into the desolate mist. All you can see is a ghostly figure. I want to talk. I don't want to move. I don't want to talk. I can't move. I can't talk. Free me. Oh, free me. I'm chained. Free me, please. And the sky is crying. The tears are dropping, rolling like footballs, except none are scoring goals. The sky is crying because of you and me, and the sky is crying more than we can literally perceive. Jazz in the background. There's more to see than this pit of darkness which has no end of a lamp of light that switches a flicker in its deceitful ways. I'm working to get this out of my abyss that's too complicated, but I balance and arch myself against an unstable world. Activation is near, then aviation is clear. Get back on my 2 feet and ride. I'm a traveling stranger in this eclipse of timeless time-lapse, but with smiling and keeping going, and gratitude goes a long way. Next bit. Spotless. My mind's gone spotless. I've become this robot. I want to explain more, feel like I can't though. Memories are trying to come alive and I'm struggling to put them to life, but just please, one more memory, oh mind of mine, one more memory and my want for life. Please, come back to wherever you are, oh memory. Spotless. I feel like my mind has been erased with an eraser. I'm trying to bring back the good times, trying to bring back the natural beams of life, smiles and hopes, and it's just a streamlined horizon of nothing, just nothing. I'm even struggling to write. I want to talk about all of the details, and I don't know why. I just can't bring back simply the feeling. I feel like I have no feelings. Perhaps I'm living my life like a haze. Oh, and this corona stuff only makes this more possible, but not to blame. Just a crumb of life I want to give you. A slice of my life seems like though I can only give you a crumb. Therefore, it's because I'm too numb. And if you want to understand the perfect example of disability, then take this example as it. It's part of life, my life. I'm trying so hard to live with it. It feels like time is surpassing my feet, way ahead. And I'm tumbling. Yes, I'm tumbling. What I need is a spotless mind like mine so I can fly by time and the pains of life, but I feel like I lost the real me. This spotless mind is indeed taken over me. Thank you.
Thank you. Sana, I have a question in response to one of your poems. You mentioned kindness a lot. What are things you can do to be kind to yourself and others? Give us some examples.
Just simply smiling and, basic things like, you see a crowd of people trying to pass through, let them pass through. Things like that.
It's just the small things, isn't it? Like, smiling at a stranger or something and just going out of your way to just, I think it's easier to go out of your way to be horrible than it is to be kind, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, what brings you comfort, or when is the time you've brought comfort to yourself or others?
What brings me comfort is a nice warm blanket and a hot chocolate. And bringing comfort to other people is to make them feel at home and at ease. For example, doing a night like this of poetry where people can listen, tune in, and get some courage.
Thank you so much, Sana. Thank you. I think we can all agree that a blanket and a hot chocolate is definitely a mood right now. Next up, we have Yossi. Yossi is an award-winning spoken word artist, actor, and practitioner of performance education. He has worked with young people in a creative setting since he was 10, started at a chicken shed theatre company in North London, and also trained at RADA. Yossi has performed in the West End and toured the UK and Ireland. Yossi will be performing 4 short pieces based on our themes.
A lot of lost souls searching. When I open my heart, I hear them hurting. Conditioned by material urges lurking, put a mask on every person, the world looks disturbing. Caught up, wrestling these social norms. Yeah, she's special but looks so forlorn. At the window of the world in need of soul reform, where most people never find their wholest form. Yeah, I'm scribbling my oldest thoughts, no ritalin, I roll withdrawals. From very young being so distraught at the view of life we're mostly taught. Like we're nothing more than unholy thought when we know we're more. Like we're nothing more than unholy thought when we know we're more. How many truly satisfied? How many bubble wrapped in lies? Caged inside contorted mind of a version that we're taught is right, of a version that we're taught is life. Gaze averted from the source of light. They've commercialized our instincts like we're meant to leave an imprint when essentially we're in sync. So everything is perfect, just the way it is right now. And there's a lot that still needs changing, but we'll figure it all out. Because everything is perfect, just the way it is right now. And there's a lot that still needs changing, but we'll figure it all out. Good evening, everyone. My name's Yossi. It's a pleasure to be here in this beautiful church, streaming to all you beautiful folks at home. On the themes of power, comfort, and courage, I picked some pieces according to those. And it takes a lot of courage to be open nowadays and to love. Nothing more than a word. That absurd verb perturbs, abstract noun disturbs, such internal stirs as makes lovers his, hers, and hers his. The house and kids, the companionship unity is bliss, that which all starts with a kiss. And don't tell at age 12, because we were all naughty kids, just trying to do naughtiness, not knowing there was more to this. So how beautiful the progression to lifelong friendship. A king and queen able to share a settee in their own setting is such a blessing. Let that be a love that isn't testing, rare to find, but special when it vibes. And those two entities collide in the space and time, somewhere just outside the average reach of mind, where soul and body intertwine. In search of these heights, we step outside, open-eyed, hearts floating as your breath breaks through your chest and sings in the skies. And way up there, love lies. Peacefully asleep on the hum strings of a violin's angel wing, love sits. Admiring all the attributes adorned to him, all the dialects describing, adoring him, and more that just love to admit, que j'adore, and more, amour. Amo, we load arrows into our own pictures of Cupid's bows as we bow our heads at Cupid's toes. Let me sit back into my wisdom. Look at the bigger picture. Love is part of the system. You hear it within my scripture. The moment's exactly what I'm trying to capture when I'm describing love as rapture. But listen closely. As I change the focus, watch the aperture. Infinite kinds of love. Here's another one coming at you. That sibling love. That simple stuff. That being there for each other when nothing else is enough. That bond you share that's more than blood. It's that growing up together trust. Then there's that business love. That let's make money and build a business, bruv. Best friend love, those chosen family brotherly hugs. And then there's that synergy love, that nature's touching the inner me love, that elevated spiritual buzz. When I see what your intricacy does, I'm talking mountainous river love, all stemming from above. Because way up there in her chair sits love. Untainted Mother Earth watching over us as people repeatedly paint patterns in the process of love. Thank you. Now, on the theme of power, I think we're in need of some drastic changes. before we kill off the youth's ambition, rendering a generation of failures. It's like we're balanced on the verge of greatness, but hanging by a thread, we're weightless. Capitalistic daggers, how we take this. Generic reprogramming of our homeostasis. Everybody's baited by the profits of a day shift, but this business is basest and the money is contagious. So we quarantine ourselves in metaphorical cages, rats chasing our tails, scavenging for wages. Patience is waning, falling for raises. We're killing each other while trying to climb to a paycheck. But it's fine when the days and I'm writing and blazing a haze that I'm faded. Philosophically out of my depths like I waded too far into these pages. Like I pained it with what I think, stained it with the ink. Can you believe we're on the brink of evolutionary supremacy? In the same millennia, we developed enough weaponry and hereditary tendencies to destroy the planet's legacy forever. See, technology encompasses your energy. And our species has come so far, chasing a dream we'll never see. If we continue to threaten the world with nuclear weaponry, I have to scream, tell them, G. This should be elementary, not secondary school to our thoughts, but it's cool now we've got laws, schools and courts, more concerned with the commodities we're bought than the values we're taught. We're all flawed and warped, bored and poor, wanting more and more. I think it's historically obvious. Subliminal hypocrisy doesn't bother us. Humankind's never been so abominably conscious. Not abominably because we're doing anything abominable, except for the guns, but bombing mates' peace, so we're bombing them all. I'm begging you, Donald, not to build a wall. You're nothing more than a frolicking fool. But I say inspiration is a pyramid. So listen close, follow the limerick with him at the top. The only thing dripping off is syphilis. It's ridiculous. How's a man with this level of ignorance sitting there claiming power and influence? Shut up with your bigoted views. Get off the news. He's a prude and particularly crude. We shouldn't be giving him an audience to spout this shit to. But we do. So it's cool, I guess. Back to school, where kids learn less of life's crucial tools, more that you must sit there, not speak and follow the rules. Not that that's anything new, but nowadays young people have nothing to look up and aspire to. When the people at the top of our society exemplify everything that's wrong with today. In these hellish concepts we play, I guess this agonizing ignorance is blissful in a way, but not enough to float away. So I guess we just stay in our ends and don't learn. But I don't rate that. I can't sit there and take that. Still in my hood like Stormzy and Ray Black, so far forward but stuck so way back. So somebody please explain to me how it's not plain to see that something is going majorly wrong within our society when the powers that be holding or moreover controlling our values, those same groups of people who can orchestrate the building of enough chemical weapons to destroy a planet that houses 7.6 billion human residents. Yeah. Those same groups of people who can orchestrate the building of enough chemical weapons to destroy a planet that houses 7.6 billion human residents cannot create an education system to empower, teach cooperation, and tackle the evils we've created. Hey, I guess everybody is still baited by the profits of a day shift, but this business is basest and the money is contagious. And doesn't it bother you? Doesn't it bother you that those people who are truly in power are never held accountable for their actions? They didn't create an education system to empower, just to teach division and fractions. Thank you. I've got one more piece for you guys. Before I do that, I'm just going to do a little plug. I've got some work out on YouTube, Spotify, so please feel free to check it out. My name's Yossi, Yossi. You can find me by searching Yossi Spoken Word on YouTube, or you can find me on Instagram, Yossi_Spoken Word. I've got an EP with 8 tracks with produced music and all that coming out next month, so please check it out. The 2 single music videos from that project are out now. They're called Drastic and Nature Baby, so I'd be very grateful if you check them out. I've got one more piece for you guys. Thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you for having us, and thank you to all the amazing artists you're seeing this evening. It's a privilege to be here among such wordsmiths. So, this last piece is about comfort. And I'm very lucky growing up. For me, I had a home where I felt comfortable, a safe place that I could call home and feel comfortable. And not everyone has that. Many people have lost that. Many people have had that taken away from them. For some people, home is a physical place, a building. For some people, home is a feeling. But what is home for you? Conceptualized or true? Everything or nothing? A place you love or a place you're stuck in? We make a home in what we do. We build a life, we dream it true. I made a home beside of you. You killed a dream, I'll see it through. It seems the older you get, the less people relate to you. The less friends have got time to wait for you. I thought I knew home, a place to be, safe, where not just I, but everybody understood me. Turns out, that reality is malleable. The insignificance of our existence is tangible. And with the current state of financial affairs for youth in our city unsalvageable, I'd like to know how you people even consider building a home manageable. I mean, the homes we build are breakable, but the one already provided is safe for all, provided we stop with the legal violence, end drilling inside it, disastrous mining, we mess with the world's natural wiring while banning psilocybin and wonder why the world needs enlightening. These oxymoronic traditions get tiring. These corporate twats need inspiring. We need to support the youth's enlivening. Because they've stolen our home, but this shit is not over. The world's getting hot, then the world's getting colder. Then we need children that are bolder than men to rewrite the script so we can begin again. Because there is still a chance that we create home, a community that will last, dance, and thrive in global unity. No soul will feel alone, no body imprisoned. That's how we'll all be living when we create a peaceful system, empty of greed so every entity is free. Oh, what a time, I can't wait to be alive. When we throw harmonies instead of weapons in the skies. Oh, what a time, I can't wait to be alive. When we throw harmonies instead of weapons in the skies. Thank you.
Do you ever just listen to something and you just like, I feel moved. I don't know about any of you at home, but just listening to some of these things, this is why it's funny, because the art's the last thing to be supported. And look how important it is. Look how we can creatively get our messages across. And, you know, what a time to be alive when that happens. You know what I mean? Like, what a time to be alive when, instead of these weapons, we're just out here doing harmonies and world peace. But, wow, thank you so much. Thank you. One thing I want to say is, how do you get that flow? Like, the way, if you was going to speak to a young person watching tonight that wanted to do what you do, how do you get that flow, the way you speed it and you slow it and you add these words? Like, what tips could you give to young people wanting to do this?
Just practice and give it a go, or give it a go and then practice, you know? All you've got to do is be inspired and want to do it. Like, my poetry sounds like that because I grew up listening to Getz and Devlin and Eminem. They inspired me, and, you know, my path wasn't that of theirs, that I thought it might have been. My path was like spoken word, not rap. And that, like, you know, I wasn't expecting that. I never thought I was going to be a poet or a spoken word artist. I didn't know I didn't like poetry as a kid. So I'd say just write, you know, just express yourself in whatever form comes naturally to you. And if you find a form that you enjoy, keep practicing it and see if you can use it to change the world.
Thank you so much. I have one more question. What brings you comfort?
What brings me comfort? Nature. Freedom, nature, being in the mountains in a little tent on the side of a mountain by a lake with a little fire with no humans in miles of sight. That brings me comfort.
I can agree. And hopefully, you know, once this lockdown is over, you can get to doing that. But thank you so much, Yossi. Thank you. We appreciate it. I don't know how you're all feeling back at home, but I'm feeling inspired, I'm motivated, and I'm so grateful to be here. You know, thank you to this venue, Grand Junction. Thank you to Peabody for funding this event. Thank you for all of you that are tuned in, you know. This is just great. Like, it would have been great to have a live audience, but thank you for taking the time to watch us and to support the arts always. Next up, we have Rachel Lewis. Rachel published her debut poetry collection on joy and recovery from mental illness in 2019. She now runs writing workshops on writing happiness. Rachel is performing 2 poems, In Praise of You and Night Walks.
All right. Thanks very much, Chanai, for the introduction. And thank you to all the amazing performers we've had so far. It's a real honor to be closing out tonight. I am your last performer. Thank you so much for sharing all your amazing words. I know I've loved hearing them, and I'm sure everyone at home has as well. So, I'm Rachel Lewis. I'm a poet. And as Chanai said, I've been thinking a lot about writing happiness over the past year, which has been really inspiring for me and also made me really glad to come along to Comfort, Courage and Power today because, it's something I've been really interested in and keen to write more about. So I was delighted to be asked. And I'm going to do 2 poems today. The first one is called In Praise of You, and it's for all the friends that I haven't been able to see much of over the past year. In praise of you. To praise you, I have made up some comparisons. Here goes. You are a slipper I think I've lost. I haven't seen you in a while, but you can't have gone anywhere. Or you are all 5 seasons of Gossip Girl, and Netflix has taken you off streaming, made you suddenly unsearchable. Or you're the pot plant I ordered in January, supposedly still on your way, delayed, but probably lost at sea. I hope you liked those comparisons, because in your absence, I haven't been able to make new friends. The toaster is very reliable, but can be self-centered. The cat says I should quit my job, that he's right, I should sleep more. And Amazon always replies instantly, but never tells me, baby, no, you've had enough. Our world's constricted round us. Your voices stilt through the cracked and tilted mosaics of our video calls, your news staccatos over the graffitied walls of message threads. Are you really engaged to be married? If we haven't drunk to it, if I haven't held your hand to see the ring? Did you really have a baby? If I haven't held the weight of her new and tiny body sleeping? Do I know who you are anymore? Do you know who I am without you? Over this last year without you, the women I was with you have gone to ground. With you, I was a take-no-prisoners stand-up comedian, cracking jokes to a roaring crowd in the round. And with you, I was a general, swapping battle tales from the front lines of our love lives. And with you, I was wise. I knew no words to say to comfort you, but I knew that was okay. Because you never said a word more than I love you, it will be okay to me. And that would comfort me. Those women I was with you are lost to me. And each morning the mirror shows me less than I would like to be. You are apparently non-essential. I can survive without you, just not live. But one day, I will take a train. The station will bustle. I will hurry through closing doors. The lost days will perch in the trees and lean across the tracks to wave me on as the train rattles past a summer noonday like no other summer. It will pass mums hanging laundry and yelling at kids in trampolines, past cooking smoke from barbecues, past crowds clutching sweating beers. And the train will pass houses that have been screaming all year with empty places at the table, that have howled with empty beds, but now are silent. Because the families have burst outwards and are dancing, singing, grieving somewhere else. And on this summer day, my train carriage will buzz nervousness as people stand close to strangers and try to tell each other with adjustments of their shoulders that they are forgetting their fears. And on this day, I'll tip out at your stop. We'll throw our arms around each other, say nothing we prepared to say, but maybe I'll say, I have been to strange and unimaginable places. And you'll say, I know, I've been there too. And we'll tell each other all about the weirdnesses we've shared apart. Picnics in the park with parakeets and flies and melting strawberries for company, and solo runs on frozen days when the grass crunched underfoot. We'll show each other scars from when we lost our grandparents, holes where our jobs were, bruises where our plans turned green under our skin. And not only will it hurt less, but with you, I will laugh that side-splitting laugh we laugh instead of crying. And with you, I will make new battle plans. We'll plan to move across the world and visit twice a year. We'll plan to move in next door so our kids can play. And with you, I will be able to grieve for the funerals we couldn't have and the goodbyes we couldn't say. And on that summer day, We'll sit on a park bench while the wind hums in the new leaves. And we'll share chips too hot to touch, licking salt from our fingers. And on that warm summer night, outside some stinking, heaving, airless bar, drinking as the evening throws itself into the darkening sky, I will become myself again with you. All right. So this is my last poem for tonight. And if you've liked what you heard, you can follow me on Rachel Lewis Poet on Instagram and Twitter, and there's much more. So over the past year, like a lot of people, I've taken more walks around my local area than I ever want to again for the rest of my life. But some of those walks have been very nice. Lots of them have been with my partner. And so this is a weird kind of love poem, and it's called Night Walks. See the lovers with their backs to us, 2 teacups on their dining table. See the flip of a child jumping upstairs. See the creased soles at the window swaying back and forth above the sill. See the husband standing above his seated wife, her grimace as he gently trims the hair at the nape of her bowed neck. See that window ajar and many beach towels, bedraggled, dirty, Rapunzeling out. See that woman posted by fluorescent lights, frying in the flat above the shop. See that man stood in his basement, twisting bulbs into bellies of wicker reindeer. I stare even if they stare us back. Above, the winter cloud rolls over azure motorways. The velvet jacket of the night sprouts, and the street lamps drum like jewels around a wrinkled neck. A satellite pretends to be a star. Below, the light switches snap shut, and so we start to talk about the landscapes we are passing through, the garden of banana trees, the alley of the mismatched gates, until we reach the estate garden. One tree that flowered in the summer leans half over peeling railings. We spend a few seconds, toe to toe, then walk again, away the way we came. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I feel like your poetry creates so much imagery, and like whilst I'm just standing there listening, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like imagine when we can all go out again, you know, like the chips and like licking the salt off your fingers. That is something I feel like we all want. I just have a few questions. You write happiness. So how do you write happiness, and tell us more about it?
Yeah, sure. So it's something I started with a friend of mine about a year ago, and we run writing happiness workshops. Again, anyone is welcome to come along to. They're for people who've never written before or who write a lot. And we just really wanted to create a space for people to like focus and reflect on the good, even if that's something really small, like chips or going outside or seeing a flower. Because in the year that we've just had, we felt it's really important for everyone's well-being that, you know, we have the space and the time to write about everything that's difficult, for sure, that's really important. But also that as creative people, we take some time to like reflect on what we still do have.
That's absolutely amazing, and I would love to do something like that. I understand you also have a book, your poetry debut. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and where we can buy it?
Yeah, sure. So the best way to get hold of a copy is to contact me on social media, again, at Rachel Lewis Poet, and I can set you up. The collection is called 3 Degrees of Separation, and it essentially explores my journey in recovery from mental illness, and also thinking about, you know, friends and family that I have that have different mental health conditions. And what I really wanted to do was celebrate the love and joy that is to be found both still while you're ill, but also in recovery, because I feel like the narrative around people with mental illness can be, oh, you know, you're sad all the time, and that's not what it's like. It makes us sound like we're miserable people. And yeah, I kind of wanted to change it up a bit.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And one more question. What brings you power, or when has there been a time where you felt powerful?
It's a good question. I think, kind of echoing what other artists have said tonight as well, the thing that gives me absolutely the most power is writing and performing. So thank you so much for giving me the chance to come along tonight, and I'd really recommend anyone out there to give it a go. It's one of the most empowering things you could ever do for yourself.
Thank you so much, Rachel. That's all the talent for tonight. I hope you're all feeling moved and inspired, and we're going to welcome all the talent back onto the stage. Whoa, like this has definitely been a night of comfort, courage, and power. Like, I hope you all at home have enjoyed, and thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, thank you to Peabody, thank you to Joe as well, the producer who involved me, and Sana, the co-producers. And to summarize, we're going to ask some of the artists, we're going to ask some questions. So, as artists, do you know what, let me come over here, I'll squeeze them between you two. So as artists, to all the young people watching, is there any advice you can give to them to be able to get into these industries? Or if you'd like to summarize with some inspiring messages, we'll start with Bzerk.
Yeah, sure, thank you. Just be yourself. Anything you do, do it with love. No journey is great without love, you know what I mean? Love for it. So just carry on doing your thing, don't watch face, and you're definitely going to make it. Consistency is everything.
Thank you very much. Sana?
Pick up a pen, get some paper, write, get inspired, write, and watch lots of, pick up a pen, pick up some paper, write, and watch lots of art.
Support the arts always.
Yeah, I pretty much echo what these artists have said, but also just start. Don't worry about how you're going to get there or what you have in your hand. Literally just, if you have a passion for something, if it's in the arts, if it's for writing, if it's directing, if it's anything, just start. And you'll see how you'll just begin to grow and work out your journey. So.
Yeah, and just put it out there, you know, say, does anyone know where I can go to a spoken word event? Does anyone know where I can do some poetry, do some rap? Google it, search it on Instagram, spoken word in London, whatever. There's loads of organisations out there that are doing these type of events and creating spaces for young people to come and share their art. So look for them and come and get involved.
Yeah, honestly, you've all got a voice. Everyone who's watching and listening, all you need to do is just unleash it, and you'll perfect your craft. You'll enjoy it. The main thing is just enjoy the process. And when you can, put yourself out there, you'll be able to get on stage alongside these amazing artists, and you can work with incredible people like the people that we have behind us, Joe, the production, design, quality, everything in an amazing venue like this. So all it is just putting your heart out there, and just not being afraid to be vulnerable. It's key. So yeah, enjoy it all.
Completely agree with everything that's been said. I think the only thing I would add is there's loads of support for young people out there if you want to get into poetry and spoken word particularly, and Google definitely is your friend to find that. And when you reach out for that, don't ever think that you don't have something to share. Like, we're all very different and we bring, you know, different techniques and stories and experiences to what we do. But that's the wonderful thing about spoken word, is it's so diverse, and there is definitely a space for you.
I would definitely say things like youth groups, for instance, like the National Youth Theatre. A few of us have trained there, going to workshops, going to events and watching things like this to be able to be like, oh, I have a voice, or oh, I'm inspired, or oh, how do I do this? And just going to theatres and researching. And, you know, if you have something like we've all said here, a lot of the themes have been about authenticity and love, and not to be a carbon copy. It's all about being authentic. And when you do something with love, then it will be amazing. But thank you, everybody. I hope you've all enjoyed. Thank you again to Peabody. And thank you all for coming. And thank you, Joe, the producer, who has got me and Sana involved. We're so grateful, and we hope to see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you.